through, Richard?
I did just want to mention, for if anybody didn't catch, that Roger Ailes is officially out at Fox News, and that if for people who aren't familiar with Roger Ailes, he basically Fox News was his brainchild, and he brought up people like Bill O'Reilly and really brought him into the spotlight and helped give him a lot of his fame. And apparently, there's one of the more recent additions to the news story is that Megyn Kelly is also probably a subject of the investigation and is probably also giving information that puts Ailes in a poor light. Also, so Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity have hinted that they may be leaving Fox News if since Ailes is leaving. They both apparently have clauses in their contract that specifically allows them to leave if Ailes leaves. I hate to speculate too much, but there was O'Reilly did have a similar instance back with an intern, I believe, with some phone messages that he ended up settling, and he's also had Gretchen Carlson on his show a lot. So I don't know if there's anything to what's going on, but if you've ever seen how women are treated on Fox News, outnumbered, where there's 4 female guests with their legs showing and 1 male guest on the show, and there's lots of innuendo jokes and all sorts of things along those lines. That was definitely Ailes' production as well. So there's a culture over at Fox News, and so people that are in prominent positions in Fox News have, I think, a tinge of allowing or knowing this kind of stuff was happening and not speaking out for the women among them, or speaking with the women among them in support of stopping these types of actions that apparently I think have some substance. Otherwise, Ailes would not be leaving, regardless of how the legal proceedings pan out. And lastly, there was just I did want to mention there was a piece in The Intercept, and I think we're going to talk more in detail about the 28 pages. But apparently one of the things that's going on is Saudi's PR machine is trying to use the 28 pages to blame Iran for the 9/11 attacks. The Intercept notes that nothing in the 28 pages has anything to do with Iran, and so pretty skeptical about that. But Saudi Arabia has been very firm in saying that now that these pages have been released, it's confirmed that we had nothing to do with it. What the pages actually reveal, I think, again, we'll go into a bit more detail, but essentially what it shows us is a stronger connection to Saudi Arabia than we've seen with any of the people that have been attributed towards ISIS or ISIL or any of the other variations in recent terror attacks that we've seen. So on that, I will pass it back to you, Nis, and we can take it where you'd like.
So on the note of the former note of grassroots, I just wanted to say that working on the local level and on the large level, we are hoping to start a series that we're going to pick up on the other side of the convention, where we interview people who work grassroots. Now, this is not a progressive show interview. The first one is going to be kicked off with a Bernie Sanders campaign staffer, but anyone working at a local level on local things, who are trying to influence things, who are dedicating a tremendous amount of their spare time to work towards others' benefits or towards changing a system because they see it as unfair, are more than welcome to come on this show, and are more than welcome to come and get featured. So without further ado, I would like to introduce an interview I did several months ago with a woman called Masha Medieta, who was, or I don't know if she currently is, but at that time she was the outreach coordinator for minority groups in North Carolina and Nevada, among other states. And this is an interview that, due to some noise background, but also due to time restriction, we have cut down to about 8 minutes and 8 seconds, but the full video of the interview, including all the background noise, will be on our channel at projectsanity.org for you to review in its entirety. And we will be doing this for anyone who comes onto Project Sanity to be interviewed. Take it away.
My name is Masha Medieta. I am a national Latino outreach strategist with the campaign. I began my career in international politics, and I worked with the Organization of American States. My ultimate goal was to work with the United Nations, and working out of DC, and I very quickly became disillusioned with the insider politics that would go on there. And rather than kill the idealism in myself that I always hope to keep, and I mean, I always stayed involved with consulting here and there. But I bowed out. I became a filmmaker for 5 years, working out of New York and Los Angeles. A couple of my films have been at Cannes in France and other festivals. And then all of a sudden this senator from Vermont came out, and I quite honestly had never heard of him, like most people in this country. And the first thing actually that attracted me to him was I had studied abroad in Denmark, and I fell in love with the system that they had in Scandinavia. And when I heard his first big interview that kind of went viral in this country about him talking about how the US should look more like Denmark, I was just immediately like, whoa, who is this guy? And the more and more I learned about him, the more I could feel that passion within myself reignite and that idealism reignite. And I quickly joined the campaign. I've been with the campaign since November. And I joined actually on their digital team first. And I created connect.berniesanders.com as a social media organizing tool, which is the first time anything like that's been done. And it's been very successful for us so far. And from there, I moved up as a strategist with Latino Outreach, and I've been traveling the country, zigzagging back and forth ever since. And, one of the things that was the stories I was telling is that I got engaged right before I joined the campaign. It was our 10-year anniversary a few days after I started at the campaign, where my start date would have been. And I said to my fiance, hey, I could try to push back and see if I can move my start date. And he was like, no, like, go, leave. We need you there. Our marriage will be stronger in the future if you can get Bernie Sanders elected. And so I left, and I hadn't seen him in months. And actually, he just came to Las Vegas to help me start organizing here while I'm here for the week. So we finally got to see each other again.
Tell me about these movies that you made. Were they short movies? Did they have that idealistic taint that you talk about? What were some of the subjects?
Absolutely. The one that went to Cannes, for example, in France, that was last year that it went, and it dealt with the immigration issue in the U.S. So that one I acted in. It wasn't my movie. I didn't produce it, but that one I was acting in, and it dealt with basically these border vigilantes in Arizona, which is a real issue, and it was based on real issues and reports. And basically they take what they view as justice into their own hands and start shooting immigrants that are crossing the border. And so it dealt around that social issue and political issue. And so, yeah, most of my films, I try to be either some type of political or social commentary, because that's what I believe the power of the arts has.
What is it for you that makes it so worth sacrificing for? And ignore the Trump candidacy, because just from the months leading up to you getting hired by the campaign, what made you actually risk your engagement and drop everything that you've built so far to go work 24 hours a day, including weekends?
Absolutely, because I believe that this election is bigger than all of us. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to truly change the course of history. That's the way I see it. I've been waiting my whole life for a candidate like this to come about. And I think the way most people feel, and the way that I feel, is that if this man can succeed, if Bernie Sanders can succeed with all of his idealism and practical idealism, like, these things aren't fantasies, these are things that exist in the world that we just want to finally implement in our own country. If he can make it being true to himself, not selling out, not becoming corrupt like the other politicians that we know, then maybe there's hope for us all. Whether you are a woman, black, white, brown, any other color, LGBT, poor, working class, all of us, of the 99%, have felt marginalized. And if he can succeed in this country, then maybe we can. And I think that's what touches people so much. I truly believe what he says, and I think most people do, and that's why he resonates so much. It's getting money out of politics. Nothing will change until you get money out of politics, whether that's women's rights. Like, one of the biggest reasons I'm here is women's rights, because I only trust him to actually have my back when it comes to protecting my right to an abortion, or to contraception, to equity, pay equity, to anything. I don't believe any other candidate out there is honest in their conviction to never back down on that. But all of those things, women's rights, equal rights for LGBT, for, talking about racial discrimination, we don't like to talk about it, but all of that ties back into money. And you won't have authentic politicians who truly represent all of those causes when they are beholden to these corporate interests. And the other big one for me is also like the environment. And that one, more than anything, shows how much of an impact corporate interests have over politicians and what actually gets passed legislatively. So the first thing that I would want to see him do, and that I truly believe he would do, is pass campaign finance reform.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay, but let's say day one of his presidency, the first 100 days, is he gonna try and do it all by himself up at the Senate and Congress in Washington, or how do you think that he will actually get these ideas promoted?
I think he's absolutely honest when he says, and I believe that this is also the only way this will ever happen in this country, is yes, we need to elect him as leader, and that's the most crucial thing. But all of this movement that we're creating around Bernie Sanders, it needs to stay alive the day after he gets elected. I truly believe that he absolutely would stand up in every capacity he could for working rights. And that's why I'm here too, to protect the worker. If we all unite, then we stand and we can't be defeated.
The one thing that we can all get together on with Bernie is his passion and anger to fight injustice.
Yes, and that same passion lives in all of us, and it comes out when we know that we stand in a group, because it's so easy to be isolated in our passion and our feeling of frustration with all the injustice. But when we get made to feel that we stand alone in that, we think we don't have a voice. But what this movement is doing is making everybody realize we have allies. All of our neighbors feel the same way we do. We just didn't know it. Now let's create our network and stand together and change the country.
Yeah, so there we have it, the interview with Masha Medieta. And as we can see, magically, my beard all of a sudden shrunk very very quickly. It's an old interview, but I think a good one, and a start to a series that we would like to do. So if you yourself, or you know of anyone who dedicates a lot of time to a cause, to a project, to make changes for others, then please contact us. And sneeze mid-air. We're gonna edit that out, I hope. Yeah. So if you know anyone who would like to be interviewed with regards to their activity, or if you know anyone who is concurrently doing things that they would like to simply have featured, you can contact us. You can send a mail to Nis Pedersen with a D and an E, not an O at the end, at projectsanity.org, or to Richard Green at projectsanity.org, or any of our other contributors, their first name, last name at projectsanity.org. We all have yeah, so you can contact us at those locations, or find us on Twitter. You can find me at Scandinavia on Twitter. You can find Richard Green at Progressive Greens on Twitter. And we are starting to develop a Twitter handle, so that just like with the email situation, you will be able to find us easily on Twitter as well. So please feel free to reach out to us. In the video description, you can find all of our contact information, including submission forms and links to our brand new YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on the Benjamin Dixon Show channel and you're liking what you see, please just type in projectsanity.org or go to YouTube channel and search Project Sanity and scroll down a bit, and you'll be able to find our channel where we have uploaded over 100 videos already, and more are to come.